Hello, thanks for clicking on this video. I'm joking. Previously, I did this studio vlog. So I am back to YouTube, but with a very different sort of video of my special interests and my research book. So this is the previous video, so please go back and watch it. Probably before you watch the rest of this one, otherwise it might not make a whole lot of sense, but up to you. But yeah, here's me just flicking through my research book, which I go into more detail in the previous video. So yeah, make sure to watch that one first. I think it helps it to make sense. So this week, this has been an accurate representation of me diving into my special interest. And yes, I did make this graphic. I actually really enjoyed making it. Anyway, yeah, so I am starting my next section in my research book, and basically one of my special interests is UK road signs and signage and the whole kind of history to it, and also I mentioned this in the very first video, but it was down to two people, Jockkinneir and Margaret Calverts, who in the UK designed this system for our national roads. So yeah, this is what I feel like the inside of my brain has been like. Okay, so I did this kind of brain dump of all the things that I want to include in the research book. I couldn't help but do some drawings, and I kind of wanted to work out the page format and then the sections, and then what I was going to kind of consider in terms of what sort of research to put in there. So I spent this week looking at road signs and Margaret Calvert in particular, as you'll already have seen in my first video that I have kind of done a lot of the cloud section. So yeah, this week I've been looking at books, online documentaries and shows, internet archives, and like any kind of old paper clippings, old forums, which have been really good. And I basically looked at some news articles as well, and then I don't know if I've drawn from any diagrams, but that's something to kind of like consider more. And then yeah, basically I don't want to limit myself, so the amount of pages, like if it gets too big, I can just like archive into another A5 binder basically. So yeah, this was just to kind of put everything down before I start properly. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I did a lot of research online into different manuals and highway codes and different standards, and basically printed out 3 pages that I had put together. I know printers can be a hot topic. The one I have is a 2720. It doesn't always want to print, which I feel is its main responsibility in life, so I wouldn't actually recommend it, but just in case anyone wondered what printer it was. So I have this very cool like slidey kind of guillotine thing that I'm using with an A3 cutting mat, and it just means that I can get like a properly straight edge. My fine motor skills are not particularly great, so I'm not great with scissors. I do have scissors here, and I do use them for, like, you see there, the little corner. Sometimes you just need to like tidy up the edges kind of thing. But otherwise, I've been finding this is quite good, although I do find that I get like an indent in my palm from if I like use it like too much in one day kind of thing. But yeah, would recommend. And yeah, I feel like every artist has a cutting mat or a mat that they can, like, you don't have to worry about. They can just get messy. So yeah, I'm just tidying up some of the edges. One page of images is to do with the like older committees of road signage. So that will go in the kind of history section. So that's what I'm cutting up at the moment. I think I used pretty much all of the images that I printed, apart from maybe 1 or 2. I think also I was kind of worried that I'd printed out too many and I didn't know how I was going to fit them like all in. I tried to scale down a lot of the images because obviously I'd be printing them so that they fit an A5 page, and also have to take into consideration that the hole punches kind of take out a margin, so it's kind of a little bit less than A5. So I'm just contemplating different ways of putting these images in. So like you might see me stop and just think about whether I could hole punch like the edge of an image, which I do end up doing quite a bit of, just because I feel like it's quite nice to have different elements to flick through at different sizes. But you'll see my kind of inner turmoil develop as this video goes on, because it's really hard to decide on layout, but it's exciting at the same time. Like, it's frustrating and exciting all rolled into one, basically. Yeah. Okay, so last page of cutting out, although you'll see in a minute that actually it isn't. I've sped up this section a little bit faster than the clip before, just because it's just me cutting again. These are the more kind of modern signs that have been established. Also, you'll notice that that photograph in the bottom left-hand corner, I managed to print twice. I don't know how I did that, but don't worry, it only goes in once. So that's one of the images that I don't do. I think I still cut it out anyway. Yeah. So, yeah. I then also had this really weird misprint that I managed to print on card because I didn't realise it was in the printer. So that wasn't very smart of me. But it did work really well because I ended up hole punching it, and it worked as quite a nice insert. So yeah. And then you'll see I quite literally caught the hole punching bug and kept hole punching lots of random different things. I think I hole punched that one a little bit too close to the edge, yeah, so I had to cut it down. I think I did end up hole punching it again, yes I did. And then yeah, I stuck kind of related stuff on the back. I find that one of the most interesting bits with like physical layouts is you can, you know, like test them and see what you think before you then like stick them down. I love that kind of, you just don't get that with like digital stuff, basically, is what I'm trying to say, is that like actual like analog feeling of like, does this work here? No, let's just shift it kind of thing. And yeah, I was using a combination of double-sided tape and Pritt stick glue, and you can see that it takes me forever to get the double-sided tape off the back. Here is everything that I printed and cut out. Okay, so this is everything that I've cut out, and then I've got the front cover as well. But yeah, this is everything I have to put in my book. So yeah, I'm quite excited to get started. I'm also going to draw my own bits as well. So yeah, let's start trying to work out the layout. Front title page, and then I think it's a little bit further back. There it is, yeah. So I made a start, which I'm not particularly happy with. So I might actually stick something over that. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. So I'm just taking out the pages because they are easier to work on when they are on a flat surface and not in the ring binder. And yeah, I'm still contemplating. So basically, I am not happy with the roadwork triangle here, and I'm contemplating whether or not to create another page. And guess what happens, everybody? Emily ends up creating another page, which you will now see on screen. I love how satisfying this looks, like sped up. Also kind of shows my thought process of how to like fit in all these pictures. And then yeah, printed out another page and it's on my desk. So now to do some more cutting out, even though I thought I'd finished cutting out, I will speed this bit up again because you've probably had enough of me cutting things out. If only I could actually cut out this quickly. I spent a lot of time cutting out that morning. It's worth it. It's worth it because at the end of this video you'll see the layout. So yeah, now these are all of the images together. So I am much happier with this roadworks sign now, and it fitted in the space beautifully. We love when that happens. So yep, just sticking it down. Also, why are Pritt sticks, glue sticks in general, so expensive? Like, I remember them being like gold dust at school, but now like I understand why. They're so expensive. Sorry, that was just a rant about glue sticks. So here is me struggling to find a pen that works. I think this one had some ink finally. You can see it's only a tiny amount. So yeah, I just had to add this little like outline to the side because there was a teeny bit of the pen from my drawing underneath. And I just went over the speed limit sign, the national speed limit, in case anyone's not familiar with it. So that black line tells you that you can do 70 miles an hour. Okay, so layout. I think we're gonna do kind of intro slash history, and then a bit more about Margaret and the history behind her work, as well as pages just on signage, different standards, the manuals, documentary stuff would be good if I can fit it in, and also like I want to mention some articles as well, and facts. Okay, so after all that prep, I actually start writing. So I used a lot of different kind of reference material. So there were some really good websites. A lot of them were design websites. I have learnt a lot from doing all this research, and I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour of road sign history in the UK. So basically, the modern British road sign can be traced back to the development of the bicycle, because three major like unions and like cycling clubs started putting up their own like cast iron danger boards, and they successfully pressured the government in 1888 to like vesting ownership and responsibility for roads. So that's kind of where it all started. And then there were certain things like the Motor Car Act in 1903, and then the Road Traffic Act in 1930. And then I was reading up more about how like different regulations came into effect, and how like initially national road signage specs were only like advisory, so you didn't necessarily have to follow the speed limit. Obviously you do nowadays. In 1957, a government committee called the Anderson Committee was formed to design signs for the new motorway network, as a system was needed that could be read at high speed. Jockkinneir and Margaret Calverts were commissioned to design the system of signage. The UK government then formed another committee in 1963 to review all signage on British roads. It was chaired by Sir Walter Warboys and became known as the Warboys Committee. The result was a document that defined traffic signing in Britain. The final report of the committee detailed a set of traffic light signs were an enormous improvement over its predecessor. Britain at last conformed to European standards and the Vienna Convention, also making full use of technology now available to make large, detailed and colourful signs. Since 1964, the system has been tweaked several times, but no need has ever been identified to change anything on a larger scale. Blue borders have narrowed and disappeared, brown signs have popped up, and new warning signs have emerged, and warning signs have had their symbols altered. I literally felt like I was in my absolute element doing this. I definitely lost a few hours to just hyper-focusing in on this, which I know is very much a neurodivergent thing. But yeah, I just really enjoyed it and I learnt so much, and I just love the whole backstory to it, the whole concept of redesigning such a massive national system, and the fact that they went on to do even more in terms of like railway signage and airport signage and like just wayfinding signage, which I think is so important and something that I really like noticed as a neurodivergent person. I feel like road signs as well, they're such a part of like everyday life if you drive, that they kind of blend into like being non-existent and just being part of the landscape, I guess. Also, something I always remember, like when I was a graphic design student, was that good design should be invisible. So it should almost go unnoticed. That's when you know it's doing its job and doing it well. Um, yeah, I just think it's something that's really like intuitive and so seamless that people don't notice it. But yeah, it just means people don't get like distracted by unnecessary kind of elements. Like it does what it says on the tin, basically. Margaret was fresh out of the Chelsea School of Art, where Kinneir had been her tutor, when the pair of them were asked to design the signs for the first motorway in the UK and then later road signage. So the fact that that took 5 years and she was literally just out of art school is amazing. Like, what a first project to work on. Also, a quote from Margaret is that I like to scribble things down and make notes for myself. That's how I work. And that my desk is my comfort zone. I've gotten to this point and I'm pretty happy with how things look. I definitely think there's lots that I could add in terms of pages still, but I really need to see it in the book. So let's work backwards, I think, and then I'll show you the whole thing. So let's move that out of the way. These are the end pages, so we are working backwards. So I'm just going to put them all in how I think I'd like them, but that could change. Yeah, I don't, just not sure. And I'm going to have some left over, I know that. Because like I don't want to go overboard on the layering. I definitely did the hole punch too big in that. Okay, so that's the idea of it. And then I've got these 3 inserts that I want to put in as well. So where does that one go? Oh, there. I don't know if it needs it, but that's where in my head it's going. And then I just like made a little kind of bookmark, I guess. It's not even a bookmark, it's just, I don't know, I just didn't want to get rid of it. It's like a cool, like, typography thing, you know? Maybe I put it there, or there. Maybe. Let's have a look. I don't hate it. This is good. Now this bit I just feel like I ought to use up, but I don't really know where. I mean, it could just go there.
I mean, I could just throw a random one in at a later stage. I like to see how it looks like both sides, kind of thing. See, I don't want to cover an image. I mean, for now, no, because that's going to go like that, isn't it? I can't stick that in there, can I? Is it too... yeah, it's too big. Can I stick... I could stick that and have something that laps a bit, but then I might want to write about that stuff. It's tricky. It's tricky. And then there's loads of insert bits here. So maybe... oh, I don't know if I like that though now. But this is the beauty, because you can just change things in and out. I reckon this needs to go somewhere like earlier, like, because it goes with that stuff. I don't hate that. It's just going to end back up where it was, wasn't it? Maybe there. And then I like the idea of like flipping it over and you being able to like see the A a bit. But I could be asking too much of something. I wonder, would it sit on this side? Do you know what? I'm gonna leave it where it was for now. Okay, so let's see what we think of this. So, title page. Now, I could do something on the back of the title page, not sure. So, we go through a kind of history and then the different committees. I don't know if I need that there, really. It relates to that report. And also I didn't realise that the school sign was there, and I did my own picture, why not? And then I like this just because it's nice to have some printed out information in between like my random writing. And then yeah, obviously I'm going to write more in the spaces. Because there's like this whole manual that I want to write notes from. So to be honest, that could be another couple of pages. And then that's the one that I first initially started, because I thought I want to do a history and then I want to go into Margaret and Jock and then just kind of Margaret side of things. Yeah, so that's where I'm at the moment. Also, how cool was this? There was a like anniversary exhibition at the Design Museum in London, and they like made all sorts of really cool like merch, I guess. And look, it's on a bag, and that's Margaret holding it. Like the sign she made, how cool. And then I have to put the Top Gear reference in, I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm kind of glad with the progress that I've made. I'm going to see how long this video is. If it's really long, I will do some more writing in the next one. But yeah, I hope this was enjoyable. I really enjoyed making it. I just love how kind of scrapbooky it feels, and just like lots of collected bits. Yeah. But hopefully I will have filled this all up in the next video that you see. Okay, so then I decided to go back in and do some more writing. I didn't know whether or not to include
this in this video, but I was like, why not? So yeah, I really enjoyed filling in the next kind of few sections. It really felt like it came together, and I could do some little drawings, which was fun. But yeah, hopefully in the next video I'll be adding more pages to this section. I decided to see what it was like to write whilst the pages were actually in the file of hacks, and it is quite a nice feeling. I think just especially when sticking stuff in, the pages need to come out, or if you're like writing near the whole punched bit, because yeah, it's really awkward otherwise. But yeah, I feel like it's looking much more kind of put together, and I'd be keen to know what section you would like me to tackle next. Also, just want to say that the latest 21 Uncensory podcast went live this week. It's episode 99, and my special guest is the wonderful Lucy Powery, who is a neurodivergent author and booktuber, and we talk about her brand new book, Real When I'm With You. And yeah, definitely make sure you have a listen and subscribe, and if possible, if you could leave a star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that would mean a hell of a lot to me, so thank you in advance. But yeah, we have a really interesting chat, and we also talk about the literal herd of guinea pigs that Lucy owns. I don't actually think you're going to believe how many guinea pigs she owns. So yeah, make sure you tune in. Thank you for watching, and I will be back with more soon.